Hey everyone! Welcome back to the J Lounge. Of course, you guys know out there, I am your hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson, here to bring you guys another wonderful episode of the J Lounge. Of course, you guys know we are an entertainment-based podcast show where we talk with filmmakers, actors, singers, directors, you name it. They all end up here talking with me. And of course, you guys know I'm always super excited to be introducing my next guest to you. He is an amazing director, and he's actually worked with one of my previous guests, Kristen West. She's the one who said he's a genius. So, of course, fellow genius is here. I had to get him on the show. Um, he's also an award-winning editor, and he is here to speak more about his work and, of course, just being incredible. I am super, super humbled and excited to be speaking with Mr. Armin Nasseri. Hi, Armin.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to be talking with you. I'm excited for my guests to learn more about you and your work. Thank you for giving us your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. And I want to give a shout out to Kristen West. Thank you for the kind words. I don't, I've definitely had people throw that G word around, but I mean, for me, it's all about, problem solving. Whenever you're creating something, working with others, you want to, it's about collaboration and making sure you have a product that everybody is proud of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. All right. Well, Mr. I know that my audience is really eager to get to know you. So I'm going to go ahead and fire the first question at you. What began this amazing passion for filmmaking and directing?
I mean, it happened at a very young age. I fell in love with art at a very young age. I mean, I definitely was a big sports person. Uh, I never expected to make art as an adult, um, but it started at a very early age. My dad was like a painter. He was an architect, and he would always paint, landscape portraits on a canvas. And um, so definitely, I was exposed to paintings at home, and then my like Hollywood films, The Godfather and
Mhm.
Stand
Oh,
by
yeah.
Me, and so they introduced me to a lot of classic movies that people view today. And my mom always like encouraged me to read books, so I had all these like different aspects of art, like literature and movies and paintings.
Hmm.
So then what happened was the art. I just fell in love with I watched like a lot of television at a young age. This the
Hmm.
pre YouTube era, pre streaming
Yes.
platforms, and I think as a kid, I mean for me, I always looked at watching movies and TV shows as a part of my identity. That's what the way I looked at it, and just the whole love for arts just kind of grew when I got older.
Oh,
I I got a taste of acting, in high school or around freshman year, and then my one of my friends from high school picked up an instrument and he had a band, and all of a sudden I fell in love with music, and I was doing that for a short period, and then my love for acting just kind of went back in senior year. That time, my oldest brother, he um, he introduced me to movies from auteur directors like Martin Scorsese, Stanley Kubrick, and Alfred Hitchcock, and he would
ooh.
talk about he would just analyze the like their signature and their style, and I was like, wow, this is really interesting. Like it really changed the way I started doing cinema. And then I was introduced to Psycho, the original Psycho. I was introduced to
Yes.
Goodfellas and Taxi Driver, and that really changed my view on cinema because and when you're a kid, uh, I looked at movies as just popcorn films.
Yep. Yep.
I was never exposed to that spectrum of movies. And then so I started renting a bunch of movies at the video store from Scorsese and Brian De Palma and Kubrick and Sidney Lumet. And then one of my childhood friends, one day I was hanging out with them on Thanksgiving, in the early 2000s. And he's like, hey man, I just got a copy of a short film I was in. I was like, cool man, let's watch it. And I was just blown away, like, wow, you were in the movie. And
Yeah.
that short film that he was in was called Back in It, which was directed by Rami Bahraini, who went on to direct uh, The White Tiger that's on Netflix, and Chop Shop and Man Push Cart. And he went to school with my brothers. And it was just so inspiring to see somebody who looks and sounds like me
Yes.
in my hometown.
Yes.
And it was just like, wow, that was really inspiring. And that really, that's when I said, this is it. This is my calling. I want to get into, you know, performing. And
Yes.
at the time, acting was still my first love. I still hadn't found my voice yet as a director, but that desire was always there. The whole writing and directing aspect, but acting was my first love. So then I packed my bags and I moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, back when they had tax incentives, and they brought a lot of production over there, and that's where I got my start. And then after a couple of years, I got a phone call from my parents that, hey, we bought a house in California. So after that whole idea of moving to California just materialized, and I had to start all over. And then I got into an acting school in Los Angeles, and after the program, my love for working on the scenes just grew even more. I wanted
Oh,
to go to film school. I was very inspired by what uh, artists such as Clint Eastwood and Warren Beatty and John Favreau and Robert Townsend were doing, how they would act and
mhm.
also produce and direct as well. So then I
Right.
went to film school, took film courses, and then I fell in love with editing. The
Oh,
whole idea of being a final storyteller. I never expected to really be a director. It just kind of fell in my lap. They gave me some assignments where I had to direct some projects and edit it, and I saw what I was capable of. And I directed a couple of short films at film school, and then I made this one particular short film called Jump about this suicidal guy and a human trafficking victim. They they kind of like they meet their fate, and then they kill her captor, and they're
mhm.
kind of roaming around the jungles of Los Angeles. They fall in love with each other, and at the end, he loses the girl, and it was like screened in my class, and it was well received,
Mhm.
and it was the first short film that made me realize my capability as a filmmaker.
That's
Yeah, it,
incredible.
yeah. I mean, it was just like whoa.
Yeah.
It was just made by 6 people, no budget, in,
Oh.
in 6 days. And one of my classmates said, "Hey, you should submit this to a film festival." That gave me the confidence to submit, but that didn't work out. And but it was just like, wow, I didn't realize I had this in me. But at the same time, I was still, I was very young. I was new, and I was still trying to find my role in the industry. And I was going jumping through auditions with acting. I was still learning behind the scenes filmmaking, and I realized that if I want to get my foot in the door, I'm going to start with editing, because everybody wants to be a director, but every director needs an editor.
Right.
So then
Right.
I
Mhm.
so I started editing, and then the more projects I was working on, I was, man, there was a period where I was working on so many film sets, man. I mean, you name it, from boom operator to art department to second AD to camera assistant. I mean, I was I was working multiple positions: craft and services, production assistant, and then so some of the filmmakers I was working with inspired me, like, wow, like if they can do this, I can do this. And then one day I had this idea about a tenant who rents out his bedroom for no, no, sorry, let me go back. Let me correct myself here. Um, so I had this idea about uh, a widower living in a remote area with his son, and He wanted to make some money on the side, so he rents out a room for a tenant, a mysterious tenant, and then that script became Seeking Valentina. And I felt that there was something lacking in the Hollywood industry, because at the time I wrote this, diversity wasn't a trend, and there was a lot. There were Persian people, because I'm
Oh,
first
okay.
generation Iranian American.
Oh, wow. That is a lot for filmmaking, but I love that for you. I love how that started for you. I love how you started for one, you started way before the YouTube area, because people forget that yes, there was a before YouTube area. You couldn't just go on YouTube and watch films, so but yes, that is incredible. But I do want to go to the number two questions, because you have a lot of filmmaking, award winning filmmaking, and credits to you. You have, whoo, there's a lot of credits to you. So you have directed an award, a show called Angry Black Women, which is now on Disney Plus. You've also directed other award-winning films, Seeking Valentina, as you were just saying, and you have a brand new music video out as well as directing and editing your first documentary. Um, I want to know, Armin, what type of stories do you like to bring to the forefront, and why is it so important to show stories of diversity and representation?
Well, when I'm growing up, being a minority in the United States, let alone North Carolina, I there was a lot of content that I loved, and I feel like I wasn't watching a lot of movies and television shows of people that look like me. And it took until the 2000s for artists such as Maz Jobrani, Shohar Akhlashu, Avi Negavan, Nazani Benadi to break into the industry. And we have representation, but I felt we don't have a voice. We don't have a platform. And every time they tell a story and they include the Iranian story, I just feel like they really they Hollywoodize it.
Yes.
And I got so tired of hearing people who look like me complain about it. I'm like, well, uh, the studios are only going to put out what sells, and if you don't step up and make a project, then they're not going to know where your voice is. They're not going to see that aspect of marketing and demand.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to take matters into my own hands. I mean, one of the reasons why I worked all the multiple positions and all these projects during that short period in the 2010s was I wanted to be more well-rounded. I wanted to grasp on every department, and also you work your way up and not forget where you came from. And personal for me, I wanted to be a director because I felt that there was no inclusion in front of the camera, especially the time when I wrote Seeking Valentina. I felt we didn't have a voice, and I wanted to cast people who look and sound like me and put them in the forefront and humanize them. Because there wasn't a lot of stories, that I felt like that were me told. It's like our ethnicity is not the character. Uh, you don't have to always cast Persian people when you want to make a international spy thriller or a period piece. We also we're people too. You know,
Yes.
we have a point of view from a carpenter point perspective, or a restaurant owner, or even a doctor or a lawyer. We have a voice too, and
Absolutely.
it was very personal for me because I felt that that voice wasn't it was me it was untapped. I mean, it's getting better now, but
Hmm.
and I still feel like more people need to stand up, step up.
Yes, sir.
Um, but yeah, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to direct, and I want to give a voice for the voiceless.
Absolutely. And I absolutely love the fact that you said Hollywoodized. Because, yes, whenever Hollywood does make movies about minorities, it's usually what they think, we feel, what we, it's their version of us, their kind of warped version of us. And this is what people have been saying, we need to take direction of our own stories to see us through our own eyes and not Hollywood's lens. Hollywood's lens has a way of kind of distorting, minorities, making them the background characters, making them the person with the one liner, then they just go away, or there's someone with the wise advice, and then again they just go away. Someone that influence, mostly, characters who are white. But I always wondered, like, who are these people? What are their hopes? What are their dreams? What are their ambitions? Where do they go to work? Do they like their work? If they don't, why not? What do they have past that? What are their passions? What are their, ambitions? And it just isn't seen unless, like you said, we take control, step up, and make the movies that we want to see. No more complaining. We
Right.
have the power now to take it and go, this is how we're going to tell our stories. We're not going to allow Hollywoodized versions of our stories because it's never told in an organic way and it doesn't show who we are. It's very rare to see a minority character with complex, with many layers, that's like 4 dimensional, not even 3 dimensional, 4 dimensional, going extra far in Hollywood, and it's very far in between. And I'm happy more filmmakers and great people like you are stepping up and go, you know what? I'm going to represent and I'm going to tell my stories our way, the organic way, and not Hollywood way.
Yeah.
I love it.
That I got that. Once I started working with
Oh,
some
of course.
filmmakers, and they were telling their voices about, oh, this happened to me when I was a kid, and it's like, wow, like you're telling a story about someone in South Central Los Angeles, who was just trying to get a bicycle, and just during the whole Rodney King era, it's like, wow, like that was a very inspiring, and I just felt like we need to catch up, because I grew up in the '90s,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and when you look at the history of when you look at the history of cinema, especially I mean the whole it's just so unfortunate, man, about with the African American community, how
Mm,
they white people were putting on black faces.
yep.
Black people did not have a voice
Exactly.
in Hollywood. And then you had someone such as Oscar Michelle,
Mm-hmm.
and later on Robert Townsend and John Singleton and Spike Lee, and how they stepped up and they put their voices out there. And all of a sudden,
Yep.
you're watching movies about what it was like growing up in South Central Los Angeles, or Love Jones, a love story about two people in Chicago, or Eve's Bayou, about an affluent family in Louisiana. I feel like, wow, or House Party, where it's just a fun comedy film about people dancing, and they just happen to be a people of color.
Yep.
I feel like, well, we should have that for the Iranian American or the Iranian community. Why is it doesn't
Yes.
always have to be about a woman getting stoned because of adultery or something? It's just
Right. This is
that's not our
exactly
that's one part, but that's not the definitive uh,
right.
global outlook about the Persian community. I mean, we're people
Exactly.
too. We joke around. Um, we
Absolutely.
like to laugh. We like to eat cake.
Yes. I love it. But but you have a point though. It's always a one-dimensional look. I would love to see a lighthearted, fun Armenian movie where everyone's having a great time, or they're laughing, or they're just showing a different side of themselves. It doesn't always have to be serious or sad or tragic, or like you said about adultery or a woman getting stoned. There can be moments where y'all have a celebration, where you guys are just celebrating, your culture, who you are, and just laughing, and just, this is what we're saying, layers. There's so many layers that Hollywood refuses to kind of just scratch, and it's just like, no, this is not. I agree with you on that. I really, really do.
Yeah,
I
I
really,
mean,
really do.
it's just a lot of groundbreaking projects. Started off as independent.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
a lot of the successful filmmakers, came up in the studio system because they made a successful project as an independent filmmaker.
Exactly. Exactly. Independent filmmaking is the backbone, I say, of the film industry. Without it, you wouldn't have the bigger, you know, huge blockbusters. You gotta always start small before you can get big. And as you say, Hollywood is getting better. I feel like we can definitely take more strides. We can definitely do a bit more. Netflix, that's supposed to be the home of
Yeah.
all these different,
Yeah.
they need to pick up an Armenian show. Come on, we need to see not one, but two. I at least want to see a whole catalog of different Armenian shows, and I want them to be from Armenian creators. I don't want to see Hollywood's version of what they think a fun comedy with Armenian with people. I don't want to see their version of that because I can already see it's going to be distorted. I want to see more visionaries. I want to see more Armenian filmmakers, and I want to see more of their stories. I'm African American, but just because I'm African American doesn't mean I don't want to see more of your stories. I want to learn more about your stories or see an Armenian cast having fun, being goofy, being silly. Just not what Hollywood think Armenian people are. So I am agree with that.
Exactly. And I think that the best thing for people of color, especially in this era, is the golden age of streaming apps.
Yes.
I mean, I mean, if somebody told me that you were going to make Seeking Valentina and then years later is going to have another life on Tubi TV and Shorts TV, I'll be like, what? A short film is on this platform?
Like
It
what?
what? I mean, streaming platforms are the reason why we have uh, Hulu, why there's Netflix, The White Tiger, where now you're
Yep.
you're, you're hearing um, a voice from brown people, even black people.
Yes.
I mean, look
Yes.
at Lovecraft Country. Look at Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Love Watchmen.
look, it's streaming platforms have definitely um, have helped a lot
Yes, they
because,
have.
and I get where studios come from because before, uh, when you make a studio film, it's hard for them to sell. I mean, for them, I definitely get where they come from on the business aspect of it because they're trying to lure people to the movie theater, so
Right.
they have to get like 3 names.
True.
And especially in my community, there's a lot of successful actors, but they're
Hmm.
not stars. They're character actors.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like you said, they're trying to fill seats, and with seats, they feel like you need stars.
But with
Yeah.
streaming platforms, it's easy to lure people into their living rooms.
Exactly. Exactly. And like I said, Hollywood is doing good, but we can do a lot better. Like I said, Hulu can definitely have more Armenian shows. We can just do a lot more. And I definitely want to say for the people who go, well, I don't want to, see all this diversity shoved down my throat, then that means you still haven't accept those people who are diversity as people. We are people and we deserve to see ourselves represented on the screen, whether it be silly, romantic comedy, horror, action, whatever. It's not diversity to us, it's our reality in our lives. And so I say to them, it's, think outside, what you think. Don't just, actually, I want to say, don't just gravitate people who look like you. Just because I don't look like you does not make me a threat. I'm a human being, and if you get to know my story, you'll see that. So that's what I say
I
for
mean,
sure.
I felt. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, the population of people of color has just tripled,
Yes, it has.
but now there's a lot of us. I mean, when I was in school, I was in school, after 9/11, and yeah, things weren't easy, but there was all. But as an Iranian American, as a first generation, there were only two images of brown people from the perspective of white people. There was Aladdin, and there was a terrorist, and there's a whole other humanity in between.
Yes, that's exactly what we need. Yes, there's a whole, like I said, layers filled with layers and layers. We're not just a one dimensional. This is what I mean. So,
I want to be sure that for the people of color who are the generation behind me, position where people are only identifying your race of a cartoon character, and then some bad guy that's publicized in the media.
exactly.
It's just
No, I get you. I get you. Like I said, we are definitely kindred spirits there. I mean, we definitely have definitely some similar experiences and some similar desires to see more of ourselves represented in a more organic, non-Hollywood type way. So definitely, for sure. But going on to the number three, Irene, I would like to know, name three people who really influenced your career and why.
Man, that's I mean, what people in my personal life or just
Both personal and professional.
or
Yeah.
filmmakers dead or alive? Oh,
Oh yeah, it can be either dead or alive, people who influenced your path as a filmmaker of who you are today.
oh my God, this is really hard, man. Three. I mean,
I know. I do this to people and they get stuck all the time. I know. One day we're gonna get more than three. One day we'll have five.
okay, I'll make it fair. I my oldest brother. I would have not been
Oh,
exposed to auteur filmmakers if it wasn't for my oldest brother.
shout out to
Uh,
him. Shout out to him.
he was a champion. Um, I gotta thank my I gotta thank my childhood friend who showed me that short film and showed
Yes.
that even movie. And three, it'll be somebody famous, Martin Scorsese.
Yes. I have to agree with that. He is a brilliant, hands down, my favorite old time Martin Scorsese movie. And I have not seen in any cop movie ever top this is of course The Departed. I am all about The Departed. I am all about Mark Wahlberg in that film. That is highly the reason why I
Yeah,
watched it. I am highly for Mark Wahlberg in that film. Definitely a great film, and I don't know what the cinematic world would be without his vision. It's just, yeah, still making films today, still making films that are just visually stunning. He knows how to move a camera. He knows his direction and his characters. And yeah, if
yeah.
y'all can't tell, I'm a huge Martin Scorsese fan. So
Yeah, I
if
have to thank my
y'all,
oldest brother. He literally made me watch Goodfellas. He's like, sit down. He had Goodfellas on VHS back when VHS were the main medium before DVDs took off. And he's like, I want you to sit down. I want you to watch this movie. And as soon as that scene came where Ray Liotta and Lorraine Bracco are walking to the back of the restaurant, it's like, wow, like that
yep.
changed the way I view filmmaking. Like, whoa, I couldn't get that out of my head.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I love it.
I mean, it's just
Goodfellas.
crazy. Like,
Thank you for reminding me of the good one. Hmm?
you couldn't get a to walk in front of the restaurant. So you chose to go on the back side for because it was practical, and it just came out awesome,
Yes,
and it
it
worked.
did. Again, I don't ever want to know the cinematic universe without Martin Scorsese in it. I just don't. I just do not want to imagine it.
And also, I
Uh,
want to let the listeners know that I feel people tend to remember Martin Scorsese as a guy who made mob movies, but he's actually made other films that have no connection with the mob. I mean, it's
yep,
very diverse. He made a period piece called The Age of Innocence. He
yep.
made a dark comedy called After Hours. He made a boxing movie called Raging Bull. I mean, he's made documentaries about Bob Dylan and George Harrison. He's made a
Yes,
concert film for the
yeah,
Rolling Stones, Shine a Light.
love it.
I mean,
Yes,
yeah, just a very diverse filmmaker. I mean,
yeah, yeah. He's just incredible. There isn't much work he can't touch and
oh,
just make it
faith-based
amazing.
movies. He's made faith-based movies.
Oh
And
yes.
Kundun, Last Temptation of Christ.
Oh, that's right. He did do that one, didn't he?
Yeah,
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot that one. That just proves what amazing he is, honestly. Ah, love Chris Casey. All right, going on to the number four question. I mean, you have done so many award-winning projects and documentaries and everything. I know this question will probably be a little bit hard for you, but what's the best project? What's the best piece of work you put out so far, and why?
I mean, it's that's really hard to pick. I mean,
I told you it was gonna be a hard one.
uh, I mean, I'm proud of every work that I did.
Of course.
Um, I want to not. I'm a filmmaker that I don't like to repeat myself. I always wanted to go from one extreme to another, but still kind of keep it my signature and my stamp. Um, like I'm really proud with the Central Authority.
Yes.
It's we made that movie. It was all social distance. Remote. We made that remotely during the height of the pandemic. And I want to give a shout out to Kristen West and Dana Lita, because there would have been no uh, story without those two ladies. And I'm proud of our cast, and um, it's on TBTV. It's picked up some awards. It's been LA lost count. It's been nominated for several awards at Fantastic Four Film Festival. I mean, it's great. Also, I want to give a shout out to Todd Garner and his group of venturing. It was an music video. It's a departure from the thriller projects I did in the past, and I mean it's been a great journey, man.
Oh, I love that. And yes, as he said, the Central Authority, as I mentioned earlier in the previous interviews, it is up for multiple awards, especially I do believe it's the Fantastic Horror Fest, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's up for that too. I told everyone, I'm going to tell everyone now this time. I'm pretty sure voting is closed, but hey, if it still happens to be open, go vote for it, go see it. As I said in the previous, and I'm going to say it again now, I see Central Authority because I see more. I see Central Authority 2, 3. I see it being like a huge thing, and I'm full for it. So I'm manifesting that you guys are not going to see the last of the Central Authority. This is going to be the one of many for you guys, and I just can't wait to see. Oh, I just can't wait to see more of your work. So honestly, I'm excited for it.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. I was honored to share the chair with Kristen West, and this was her brainchild, and Dana's. With the help of Dana, Lita, and shout out to Matt Chasen, and we're proud of this project, and it's in our cast. I mean,
of course, as you guys should be,
those are the real geniuses.
Yes, of course, those are the real geniuses. Cannot make a great movie without, of course, an incredible cast. They are the backbone. They are for sure the backbone. Armin, I want to make sure my audience keeps up with you, your work. Even if they wanted to give you a shout out, where are you on social media?
I'm on Instagram at Armin Nasseri. I'm also on Facebook at Armin Nasseri Filmmaker.
Make sure, of course, I want to highly encourage my audience. Make sure you guys follow Armin Nasseri. Make sure you guys support him. Of course, we want to see more of his work. And if you guys want to know more of his work, like I said, the man has done almost everything: documentaries, movies, directing, editing. Does he sleep? I don't know. I don't know if that's a concept for him, but I will ask later on in the show because I probably need to know myself. But make sure you guys definitely follow him. Going on to the number 6 question. Are there any future projects you're involved with right now that you can just give a little dish about to the J Lounge audience?
It's called George Hobbs' Stick Figure Wisdom. It's a project that I've been working on for a few years, and we're getting closer and closer, to completing it. That's in the works.
Super exciting. Make sure you keep us here posted at the J Lounge. Of course, we want to know more. So once that comes to fruition, make sure you let me know.
It's another project that it's giving a voice for the voice, something that's thought provoking, which is one of my big, one of the reasons why I want to direct, and I can't wait for people to see this project.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. I cannot wait to see more because again, your work speaks for itself. So I cannot wait to see more what you do. I'm excited. Going on to the number 8 question, and I do believe I gave you a little preparation for this one. Name 3 actors that you would love to work with and why.
Oh my God. Are famous?
Hey, it can be famous. It can be starting out, rising stars, whoever you would like to work with.
Oh my God.
Yep. I just made the gene pool a bit bigger. I made the pool bigger.
I mean, that's a really hard one because I mean, when you're a kid, you look at the actors as as a a film geek, and then once you
Yep.
start working behind the scenes, um, now you're just focused on what can I get out of this actor, and what am I going to do that's different from the previous filmmakers they worked with. That's always a question that comes to my mind because you want to challenge yourself as a visual a storyteller. Man, if I have to pick three, maybe Robert De Niro.
Ooh, nice choice.
Um, and one thing about Robert De Niro, he has. I mean, I never met him personally. Hope one day I will. I will. He
Yep.
has an amazing work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
He's like very thorough, and I love the stuff what he did behind the camera. And I mean, it's just like when you talk about inclusion. I mean, A Bronx Tale is like one of my all-time favorite movies. And when you're a kid seeing a young Italian man and a young African American woman on screen, to me, like he really was responsible for the race barrier.
Yes. Yes. I agree with that.
And to this day, even though those two actors are still interviewed to this day about what they were up to back in the '90s, that just shows you how the demand for inclusion and that people want to hear these stories.
Yes.
So De Niro, oh my God, I got two more.
Yes, you do.
Oh my God, she
Ooh.
brings this authenticity in movies,
Oh,
and
wow.
she could do drama, she could do comedy. I mean, she can make you laugh really hard, but she can also terrify you.
I love it.
Uh, and three, oh my God, oh my God, this is really really hard. Oh, man. I'll want to give some love for the character actors. I love Richard Jenkins.
Ah, yes.
I
Yes.
think he's a
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I love all those collective actors, especially Robert De Niro. I'm also a Robert De Niro fan. I mean, how could you not? How could you not? He's just done it all. I just love seeing him. I think I love seeing him definitely in the just the quiet, drama roles where it's just your face that really tells the acting. That's what I love the most. Because as an actor, it takes a lot to express with your eyes, your face, not to say anything, not
Mhm.
to use anything but your face. And he's one of the few actors that you could just see all that acting just from his face. He doesn't have to say anything, honestly.
Yeah,
He's just that's just how talented he is, and just how, like you said, his worth ethic. But this is how he just is as an actor. He was just born with it. There's just some people who they got to do acting classes or whatever, but he was just one of those actors that just was born with it. Absolutely amazing.
yeah. Because in acting for the camera, acting in front of the camera, it's 80% attitude and 20% dialogue.
Yep. And it's just, yeah, and how he conveys that is just amazing. And I love that movie. What was the movie you just said with the Italian boy? And because that was one of my favorite movies too.
Still,
Yes, yes. Okay, I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, how refreshing it is to see an Italian man and an African American woman on, as a romance couple. I was like, yay. I was like, no offense, but I was like, I really hope they didn't put him with another white girl because it'd just be the same old. But I love how the fact that they showed different representation in dating and all that kind of stuff with,
yeah. I
because that's
mean,
rarely kind of seen still, or if you do see it, it's the same old. You see the black man with a white woman, or this vice versa. But I've never seen. I would like to see an Armenian, or with an Asian. It's just something different, because there are couples out there, and I'm sure they would love to see themselves represented as well on the screen. And I love that he took that. And again, I'm just as obsessed with them as I was when I first saw that movie. And they actually recently did a photo together on Instagram next to the posters,
Yeah.
and of the posters of the 90s and them now. I loved it. I was like, yes, they're still great. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Uh,
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter like what you look like. It's like it's about leveling the playing field, and it just has to be genuine. And their
yes,
chemistry was just genuine. Like you felt like you were there with these characters,
you did. You
and,
did.
the backdrop.
Ah, it was a powerful film. I love it. And I really, you know what, they really should play that movie on right now. It is coming up fall. That's a really nice fall movie to watch. Oh, they should really play it. I love watching that movie. All right, Mr. Armin. Just got two more questions for you. Going on to the number 9 question. What are some of your passions outside of filmmaking and directing?
My passions outside of like hobbies,
Hmm.
basketball, collecting records,
Ooh, what type of records?
just all kinds, man. Rock, old school like R&B and soul,
Ooh.
avant-garde,
Hey, I can get down on that old
punk.
R&B. Yes. I have to ask, do we have in the collection of the old R&B?
It's in another room. But yeah, it's actually, from Al Green to who
Yes,
was it? The Impressions to Sam Cooke. You know,
that's
yeah, the
beautiful.
list goes on.
I love it. Sam Cooke, Al Green.
Hannah
Yes.
Day.
You got good taste, Mr. Armin. I have to say, you got good taste.
If it has a hook, it has a hook.
Yes, it does. I have to agree with you. If it has a hook, it has a hook. Doesn't matter what type of music it is. Alrighty. Going on to the final question for you, Mr. Amin. What's been some of the most rewarding and difficult moments of your career?
What was the question again?
What's been some of the most rewarding moments of your career, and what's been some of the most difficult moments of your career?
Oh man. Well, the most moments is the fact that like years later, people have say, "Oh, by the way, I caught your movie on Tubi TV," and it's just like, wow, something that I did like 6 years ago, it's still paying off. It's still entertaining people. So it's always rewarding when you make a project just bring levity to someone, kind of give them something to watch when they have a rough day. That's always rewarding.
Love it. Love
And like I can't name what's difficult, man. You're always going to deal with setbacks.
Yep.
You just have to keep moving, make the best out of the situation.
I agree. I agree. But I love that. I love how yes, years later people can still come up to you and hey man, I caught your film on Netflix, or hey man, I caught your film caught your independent film that you were been working on. That's got to be cool. I mean, to be recognized for that, that's got to be cool.
Yeah, and then whether if they like it or they don't like it, I got their attention.
Exactly. Hey, good attention being bad is still attention. So they're still talking about the film, and hey, and for them to like it, they still had to watch the entire film from beginning to end. So hey, still a viewer. A viewer still a viewer to me,
Yeah.
whether they liked it or
Yeah.
not.
If they actually if I provoked a thought, that's a victory for me.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that. Mr. Nasir, you have such a bright vision. It won't be surprising to me if you carve a name out for yourself as one of the, one of our generation's best visionary. I cannot wait to see more of what you do. You definitely are a genius. I can definitely see why Kristen loved working with you. And like I said, I cannot wait to see more of what you accomplish. I can't wait to see more like glass ceilings you might bring with your representation. I'm excited, and I really appreciate you giving me your time and letting my audience get to know you, your work. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. I just want to say, for me, it's going to take me more than more than like one or five projects to for the audience to realize that it's important to have inclusion and representation, but it's going to take more than like one filmmaker to really start this trend or revolution
Yes.
of making sure everyone's voices is heard.
Oh, absolutely. And I agree with your earlier statement. We definitely need more filmmakers to step up, especially filmmakers of color, step up and reclaim your guys' story. Do not let Hollywood continue to tell your story. You take it and you tell it the way you want to tell it. There's just no more excuses. Like I said, no
They'll
more
catch on.
excuses.
They'll catch on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We definitely need to see more representation. And I know those people, there are some people who don't like the word diversity, who doesn't like the word representation. All I had to say to those people, oh, well, we don't plan on going anywhere. We are going to continue to shine, and you're gonna have to accept it because
And
we're not.
there's just no excuse right now because digital has evolved. I mean, back then, filmmakers had to go to film school just to get access to a film camera, but now you can get your hands on a DSLR camera. You can film something with your smartphone.
Yep.
Digital has evolved so much, so you can. The beauty about independent filmmaking is just taking the resources that you have and utilize it.
Exactly.
So yeah, get final draft. To pay 80 to $200 and get a final draft and write something. Write what you know.